I had this master grade RX-78-3 version 1.0 sitting on my shelf, and I got to thinking, it would be neat to paint this up like the RX-78-1. Since I also have the 2.0 and the 3.0, I can paint the version 1.0 like the RX-78-1, the version 2.0 like the RX-78-2, and the version 3.0 like the RX-78-3. So I started work on the RX-78 1.0. Got to breaking down the kit and looking over the paint job, and realized that I would need to make a few adjustments to some parts. The ankle guards are the most obvious difference, and I decided to start there. My first thought was to make a template and to drill out a few holes in the ankle guards to keep my line straight, and then cut the slots out the rest of the way with other tools. This should have worked, but I think I need more practice. My second attempt was to cut out some claw plate and use that to make the slots. Again, this should have worked, but my inexperience with claw plate is showing through here, and I still wasn't very happy with the end result. On my third attempt, I realized that I could probably just make these parts on a 3D printer, since they were pretty simple to make. So I took some measurements and I jumped into Tinkercad and designed what I needed, and that worked out much better and I was much happier with the results. The other approaches should work just fine, but I'm just very bad at them. The wrist guards were up next. This time I just jumped straight into using the 3D printer after the fiasco of trying to make the ankle guards, and this worked out just fine. Next up, I needed to work on the skirt armor. I planned to cover this with the beam rifle, so I only needed the armor piece to look vaguely similar to the reference. So I used some paw plate once again to build up the general shape, and I sanded it all smoothly at the end. This worked out pretty well. A lot of the references for the RX-78-1 vary slightly for this right side skirt armor, so I didn't need it to be perfect. The last modification I needed to do was on the beam rifle. The shape is very similar to the reference material, and the only differences really are that the foregrip is not there and the sight is also not there. So I simply cut them off and I sanded everything smooth. Since this is an older kit, it's basically the first master grade, I had to deal with some of the issues that come with being an old kit, specifically the seam lines on all the parts, and also the armor separation is not as good as what you might find on a more modern kit. So I had to do a lot of masking to actually get the color scheme that I wanted. So the next bits of video here are all just related to the masking that I needed to do in order to get the color scheme the way I wanted. I finished this off by applying a gloss coat, Tamiya panel line accents, and finally a matte clear coat. And here's the final reveal.